Hi, this is Sarita, and the topic I'm going to talk about right now is women's rights. Was wondering if anyone actually really knew their rights, how far their history and where they've gone from. Many people ask me how do I feel about women's rights today, and my honest opinion is that I feel that we're insignificant and we haven't done much since the movement rights. To be perfectly honest. And actually, most women today that are looked up as icons and, are seen as someone to like a role model, or actually not really much role models at all, but pretty much disgusting little whores, to be brutally honest. If anything, I don't think we have done much in any last decade of quite any movements of women's rights, only proven men right. When the movements rights was made, it started way back, and I'm going to go ahead and put a timeline for all of you guys to go ahead and see. But when it was made in the way back, it was started in the 1800s, and they were doing it like a declaration of sentiments. So two women starting in like 1889, were the ones that brought the suffrage into the Constitution. And it wasn't until way later that in May 1919, the Joint Revolution Concrete Amendment was, suffrage of women, was actually made. And there's been a whole movement from the 1795 to the 1992 going on women's rights. I went ahead and put down the timeline so you guys can all read for yourself. But this is the pressure of the sum up. In 1848, the Forced Women's Rights was held in Sunnation Falls. 2 days of a discussion with debate, with only 68 women that signed and 32 men signed. So as you can see, not many men were actually willing to sign for women to have rights. For many men believed and perceived if you gave women's rights, it would lose all the value that came and respect that men usually have for women, and that most women will end up turning in themselves to being whores and not doing anything productive in the women's rights movement. So ask yourself, women, it's already 2014 now. I think the majority of women have proven what men thought would happen to be right. So, but the precision, the fight went on. In the 1815, the women's government takes place in Wyoming. In 1989, like I said, the two women signed the beginning for the Constitution. Lucy McWells forms the women's suffrage and regaining the women's voting rights amendments to the state Constitution. December 10th, the term Wyoming was a suffrage women's law and became a thing, and the 1989. The whole timeline is going to go up there. But what I was really more concerned about was I wanted to know what happened between the 1980s to now, because we hear all these stuff that happens back then. In 1984, Emily listed as an information pre-choice to the declarations of nations, politics, and organizations and suffocations, everything. In 1986, the Supreme Court, finds sexual harassment of form as illegal dom description, and then it jumps all the way later to 1992, the Planned Parenthood for Custody, which redeems the rights to abortion. In 1994, the Violence Against Women Act threatening the penalties from sex offenders funds the Service from Rape and Domestic Violence for. In 1996, in the United States Virginia, the Supreme Court of female Virginia military schools to admit women in order to receive public funding. In 1999, the Supreme Court rules that the crimes and offenses associated with women can be sued in the punishment of sex discrimination. In 1993, Nevada Department's resources on prohibits laws that states that the court find a violation of the Family Leave Act. In 2005, in Jackson Birmingham Board of Education, the Supreme Court finds it which prohibits the discriminations of sex and discriminating for someone to complaining about the sex discrimination, and therefore also being a person who is discriminated against. In 2006, the Supreme Court bans the partial birth for abortion procedure, to which full holds into the plans of the Banning Federal Act. And in 2009, Obama signed the Lilly and Parent Restoring Act, allowing victims to pay discrimination files government against their employer within 188 days of their paycheck, which often allowed a woman only 180 days from their date was unfair check, claiming that former employee in Goodyear who was alleged she was being paid 15 or 40% less than her male counterparts, which was found later to be accurate. And now we're in 2013, almost heading to close to 2014, and you can see from 2009 there has nothing that's been happening in women activists. Apparently nothing, other than women just pretty much trying to be the next Kardashian. I think women are better than that. I think they're smarter than that, and if they actually applied themselves, you don't have to sell out your dignity, your integrity, your pride, you know what I mean, or your honor, or even your self-respect to get ahead. These women in the past were able to do it, and I don't know why more women were not able to do it now. If they would apply themselves more, you'd be surprised the things that women can be accomplished. You should never let anyone put you down. And then with women's histories, before the 1970s, the rare subject was series of historian Mary Beth recalls only two of the scholars that have identified themselves as historians, and the Foreman original subject, which is only available in the country. Since then, however, it's been an undone metamorphosis, and it really cultures historians to the courses and the courses and the major of the programs in such degrees and such fields. Women's movement is two significant matters emerges to the histories, and the women's movement in the 60s caused the question to the visibility in traditional American history texts. The movement also raised inspiration as well as the opportunities of women to produce a growing number of female historians. Carl Rosenberg and the only women's historians, as well as remarking of the inspiration which the political aroused by the feminists and changing the ethnic and political discrimination which turns our histories trace the origins of women's second-class status, as well as the way how we study our traditional history and politicians in articles with key forms of leaders. Primarily women were influenced by them. By the 1970s, the new history was began replaced by the older style, emphasizing a broader spectrum of American life, including such topics as histories, urban life, public health, ethnicity, and the media and poverty. Since then, women have held leaderships in positions, recently only magnificently in ordinary, but representing women has been such a subject in the history of education, birth control, housing, marriage, sexuality, and chair rendering, which are the fields of historians have needed to expand as well. And then there was also History Maiden Month on the day of March, and pretty much the month of March. See, there's not much on women history, and if you really, really think about that, that's kind of really, really sad. Women are said to be the types that can actually multitask and do so many things and have great minds. And if we have all those abilities, then why don't we all apply them? So that's just going on the topic. All my resources and facts, you can find them down below the link below, and be free to go ahead and read it out. Comment if you like. Laters.